Okay, so I want to make this bigger. I guess. Can you guys see that okay? It's not letting me like do full screen. I'm trying to figure out how to do. Here we go. Oh, what do y'all see?
The whole screen.
You see the building database to 500?
Yeah.
Okay. Again, I'm connected to two computers, so I'm trying to like figure out which one goes
But we
where.
can also see the next slide as well.
Oh, you can?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's do this.
There you go. That's it. Yep.
Perfect. Okay. I don't like us cheaters who like to look ahead. Okay. So today is all about building database to 500 people. Why 500? You'll find out here mathematically. And here we go. Someone else is joining. Sorry. Now I lost my cursor. Where? Ah, well, this is failing. Okay. We're just going to stay like this for now. So database, I will be the first to admit that my first year in the business, I didn't take database seriously. I didn't really conceptually understand what a database could do. I came from literally graduating college to selling real estate. So I just went into sell mode. I knew that I had to talk to people. I knew I had to follow up. I knew I had to create relationships. I knew all that, but no one really truly sat me down and was like, you need to take everyone you meet, put them in a database, work them every single month, create campaigns to allow the system to support you so that you're working smarter, not harder. I never got told that until my second year in real estate, when I was pretty much run ragged, doing 51 buyers and one seller. If you could imagine, for those who have worked with buyers, what that probably felt like. It was a lot. And so when I shifted from just jumping, trying to remember everything, writing things down on notepads and napkins and anywhere I could find, to be honest, which some of you may relate, it completely changed my business. Yes, it doubled my business. It also made me work less. So I was working I would wake up at 6 a.m. I would get coffee, study the market, look at my email, then go to the gym, and then come home, eat breakfast, and then be in the office by like 9 o'clock. And then I was just trying to find business. I would either go out door knocking, go to networking events, make calls, whatever I had in my plan that day, but I just ran around everywhere and didn't follow up systematically. And I would work until sometimes 8, 9, 10 p.m. trying to just think that that's the best way to do business. The following year, I would do the same morning routine, but then literally, and I am not exaggerating, guys, I would stop at 5:30 every day. 102 deals a year, a team of 5, which, by the way, just because I had a team helping me doesn't mean I work less. You actually end up having leadership responsibilities, so you work a little bit more. I would stop every day at 5:30 because I played soccer every night. So I made sure that I did all my business. I had my systems, my database running. It would help touch my clients. I also, simple thing is change my voicemail to say my working hours, and that after 5 p.m., if I don't call you back, I will call you first thing in the morning at 8 a.m. And clients would still call, but they would leave a message and say, oh, I know you're not going to call me back. I hope you have a good soccer game. Because a lot of my clients knew that I played soccer every day. And so it's just setting those expectations, but allowing the database to help you as well. So literally going my first year to my second year, I decreased my hours pretty much in half of how much I worked that year, but I doubled my business. And so truly, all of you are pretty much in the beginning of your career. Take your database seriously. Use it every single day. So why? Most of you've heard this, don't be a secret agent. And database helps you not be that, on top of obviously social media and talking to your friends and family, but that's what the database helps you do. And let's be honest, how many of you get emails from, let's say, your favorite clothing store or your favorite brand, whatever it is, accessory wise? Do you get emails from them every day?
Yes.
Maybe more than once a day?
Yeah, sometimes.
Do you throw a fit and delete them and say, I'm never going to buy from them again?
Honestly, sometimes.
Well, you just ruined that, Brittany.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. No, there might be 1 in a million, but everyone else was saying no. You might delete something like, how the heck did they get my contact information? But naturally, we don't get angry because someone sent us an email. Maybe if you're still in 2010, when I started, emails weren't necessarily as rampant as it is now. People might have more validity saying, well, I don't want to over spam them. Well, spam is just a thing. Like, it's just a thing. So with database, it's a mixture of processes, which I'm going to talk about too. However, they're not going to hate you because you send an email. Like, it's not going to be the end of the world. And so don't put that in your head, that self-talk of, I don't want to bother them. I don't like getting an email. Well, if you're saying that, like, truly you're 1 in a million, because people don't go off the rails because they get an email. Typically, Brittany.
Okay, you're right.
You might have just had a bad day that day.
Probably. I won't blame the emails.
And a lot of these people are who you know, right? And we're going to talk about categories and how you're not just taking a phone book and throwing people into a database. These are people you know, that know you, that you've had some type of conversation with, or they've contacted you lead wise. And so it's not like they're going to think that, how the heck did they get my information? Well, they know you. So this is simple. Like, all these slides are super simple, but it's relevant. So be who they call when they think of real estate. And I'm going to give you the best example. I was fabulous at this on social media, especially back in my prime when I was doing 100, 200, 500 deals. I would post open houses. I would post just sold, just listed, coming soons, my showings, my networking events. You know, right now in my life, it's more baby photos and kids stuff. And I do have to get back balancing that because, to be honest, I will say I am less relevant on the client side. Like my clients who I have internally know me, trust me, refer me. But if I'm trying to capture new clients out of the social media world, I personally am less relevant. The brokerage is not, because that's where I'm spending all my money and my time, which is important to me for you guys. And yet for me personally, I need to get back in being better at being relevant with real estate. So when I was in my prime and I was posting all that, I had moved after 4 years of being in Orlando doing real estate and doing hundreds of deals, or 1,000+ deals at that point. I moved to Texas and I announced it, but that post just kind of went off to the side because I did so much real estate stuff that I still had people inboxing me, texting me, calling me, asking for real estate help. And then I also had people who wanted to get into real estate call me and ask for advice. That is what you want. You want anybody who sees you on social media. And some of these were old high school buddies. There's not even people that I really hung out with, just people who had questions around buying their first house would inbox me and be like, hey, I can tell you're super successful, and I just had some questions about buying my first house. Do you mind answering them? Of course I don't mind. Like and I wasn't even in Florida anymore. And so understand that social media and emails and pop buys and events and just thank you notes and phone calls, all of these things they don't have to always be real estate related, but you want them to say, you know what, I trust her or him, I like him or her. I know that they're not going to just try to get money off of me. I want to ask them a question. I want them to be the one to advise me around real estate. So make sure to be the one they call or give your name to other people or call you and say, hey, my best friend's buying. Will you talk to them or meet with them? That's what your intention is here. I think, did I accidentally kick? Sorry, I feel like I accidentally didn't admit Cami. Let me see what happened. Oh no, you're here. Okay. All right. So how do you do that? I mean, I've kind of explained it, but more specifically, I like this quote. True abundance isn't based on our net worth, it's based on our self-worth. If you guys don't believe in yourself, I have found that that you do less interacting with your past clients, your sphere, your family. You have to be confident in yourself. You have to tell yourself every day that I am worth it. I am knowledgeable. I am capable. Even if you haven't sold a transaction yet, that is all true. I have not brought anyone into this brokerage that I don't believe in. I know all of you are capable. We have a team of amazing agents to help you through any situation we run into. And so you internally have to be confident in saying, I am worth them using me, because I 100% guarantee you that if they don't see that confidence and appearance perception wise, whether that's on social media or in person, they're not going to talk to you about real estate. They're going to beat around the bush. They are going to hide from you. And then the next thing you know, you see on social media, we bought a house. And then you get upset because you weren't the one they came to. And it's not being pushy. It's not being arrogant. Confidence and arrogance are two different things, in my opinion. We don't want to be arrogant. We want to be confident. We want to be proud of who we are, proud of what we're capable of, and show them that we are worth working with. And the database can absolutely be a tool to elevate you in a non-cocky way, in more just subtly being in front of them. And then for you, it systematically helps know who has been paying attention, who is communicating with you, who you need to call, who you need to follow up with, who you need to meet with. So it's all of those things. So why the database? This is just some math. If you do the database right, your return should actually be higher than 30%. Yet this is the average. This is the industry average. I know agents who have an 80% database return. Those people are highly successful and working a lot less than actually we are, because the more people just pick up the phone and call you, that means you have to do less calling, right? So if you really truly want to make your database your priority when it comes to your number one lead gen, then your return should actually be more like 70-80%. But an industry standard, if you're doing database as a daily thing and more as a supplemental feature, like for example, like my lead generation when I was in Florida was mega open houses. So I would do my mega open houses. I would do 100 signs. I would get 50 to 60 people in every open house. That was my lead generation. That was my number one. Not my database was there and everybody went in my database. Everybody got set up on drip campaigns. Everybody was systematically touched, but that was not my main source of lead generation. My main source was open houses, and then my database was there to keep my business going. So my database was a lower return. I will answer that in a minute. So it was that lower return because I didn't just focus on my database as my number one lead gen. It was like number 3. So it was in my pillar of lead gens. You should have 3 to 4 pillars of lead gen. Open house was my number 1. Investors was my number 2. And then my database and sphere was number 3. So I focused on mega open houses, which then fed into my other 2 pillars. Sanae, I have done these here, and I did them mainly during the buyer's market. So in a seller's market, they still work fabulous. I just have not, my listings lately have been in places where I can't put out 100 signs. So gated communities, I never do a mega open house for gated communities. The Woodlands, obviously you can't do 100 signs. I have done them in Jacobs Reserve. I've done them, I especially love them in the Cypress Wood area because you get a ton of attraction there. So I did one a couple years ago, I would say 3 years ago, for a listing I had. I don't have In that market, I had about 30 people, whereas in Florida, I had 60. I can guarantee you, if I did an open house in one of those areas right now, I would get the 60 people. I will do a class if we could do it next week if you guys want, on my mega open house and my system, my tactic, how I choose properties. Inventory is just so low right now that because I'm very specific about which houses I do, because it is a system. Like I don't just hold every house open as a mega open house. It has to be a specific location, number of turns, signage allowed, ample amount of parking, because if I'm going to have 30 people at open house, I have to be able to have enough places for these cars to park. You don't want it to be where they drive by. So there's actually analytics that get involved with those. So yes, I do them. It's less in a seller's market just because inventory doesn't stay up as long. And recently my listings have been in places that don't cater to that, but I will teach you guys that system. Okay, so 30% return. So this is where our math is going to start. And this rule of thumb around your database, you should have 30 to 36 touches. Now, we'll talk about what touches mean, but this is essentially be in front of these people visibly, whether it's email, phone call, events, one-on-ones, handwritten notes, holiday cards, just sold, just listed, coming soons, all of that plays, market updates, all of those play into touches. Honestly, if you're doing this right and you're doing enough business, which by the way, the math works out, you're doing 150 deals. So you should be doing what? 150 divided by 12 is like what, 12 almost, 12 and a half. So if you're doing 12 and a half deals a year, you're doing at least 24 to 36 touches within coming soons, just listed, just sold. Those are touches in itself. So you've hit those 36 touches just doing that, but it should be a combo, personal and business. So with 30 to 36 touches a year, that is important. If you're only doing 10 touches, these numbers don't work. So I have worked with so many agents outside of just being a broker, being a real estate coach, being a team, a mega team agent who has mentored agents. I have given people the opportunities of how to do this. And I wouldn't even say 1% do it. I would say it's more like 0.5%. Everybody does it like a third of the way. So then they come back and say, I'm not making what I need to make, or it's not working and I need to change my method. Whatever that says, that tells me that you're not actually doing it to the level you need to do it. Has anybody read the book 3 Feet from Gold? No. Okay.
No.
So no, Brittany?
I said no, sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I thought you said yes. I'm sorry. Okay, so no one's read it. It is my absolutely favorite book. It's motivational / business. So it's self-improvement / motivational / business. 3 Feet from Gold. And the title is truly that. It talks about miners. Well, the first story in the whole concept is back during the mining days, there was this adventurer or excavator, I guess is what they were called, who dug and dug and dug for like, I think it was 5 to 6 months, and just kept going and gave up, like literally gave up 5 to 6 months in, and just left, and was like, they knew there was gold in that mine because other people had excavated there, but they went and just felt like a failure and gave up and walked away. And then this one man comes in behind him and dug 3 more feet for like 2 weeks and hit gold. And it talks about how naturally people do almost there. It's like the tip of the iceberg, right? Like underneath an iceberg is massive, massive, but we only see like this much of the iceberg. It's that same concept. You can't just do 10 to 15 touches and expect this result. Yet that's what most people do, whether it's in real estate or health or family or whatever it is. We find time and time again, people are always 3 feet from gold. They go so far and then give up. Don't be that person. And I believe with our database that you have access to, you can make this happen. And I want all of you to make this happen, because how fun would it be, the brokerage that at least 50% of our agents make 100 or 1 million in GCI. That would be a story. So I am all for helping you guys obtain this. So 500 is the number. Honestly, 500 may seem like a lot right now, and it's not. I believe that a lot of you could be there, and we're going to go through the activity we're going to do and literally spend the time seeing how many people you know. Yet the goal to have a healthy, strong, long-term referral business is to hit that 500 number. Don't be discouraged if you're at 50 today or 100 today. Statistically, everybody knows 100 people, and it may not be your inner circle, but you know 100 people, especially in this industry. So we can get you to 500. At 500, with a 30% return, you should get 150 clients / referrals. And that's another thing I want to make a distinction against. Just because you have 500 people doesn't mean those 500 people are going to be buying, selling, investing this year. It's the referrals they give as well. So you have to thank them for their referrals. It's not just, I've seen agents say, well, 500 people are not going to, how do I know they're going to be buying, selling, investing this year? That's not the goal. Now, they say on average, people move. It's gone from 7 years to 5 years. So within those 5 years, everybody should be funneling through your database, but it should be people in your database plus referrals. And guess what? That helps you get to 500. Well, technically this math is on the 500, but if you start with like 100 and do 30%, and then it grows and it grows and it grows, because if it's like 1 out of 3 is actually needing to do real estate. So if we side note that math, 500, and I'm doing math right now, 500 divided by 3 is 166. Let's say 167 to round up. And so out of those 500, 167 should be buying, selling, investing. So if you get 30% out of that, that's 50. So out of those 150 referrals, 50 of those should be people already in there, and 100 is going to be new people. So then the next year you're going to have 600. Does that make sense? Do I need to slow down and backtrack, or everyone good? I'm seeing we're good. Okay. So your database grows, and this is how database helps you work smarter, not harder, because if you have those 500 people and then next year it automatically turns to 600, well, then the next year it's probably going to turn to 720, and you're just going to keep growing and growing it. Now, the fun part, knowing what the possibility is. So if you have 150 clients, and let's just say our average commission is 200,000, I'm being conservative because market has gone up, but I like to play conservative. At 600,000, 150, that's 900K in GCI. Just right at $1 million, like almost there. Obviously, that's not your net. You have to pay taxes on that. And if you're making 900K, you should be happy to pay taxes. I hear like, oh, I don't want to have to pay taxes, or, oh, it's tax time. Well, for me, it's like, if I pay taxes, that means I made money. And so I'm okay with tax time. Like, yeah, it sucks losing that money. You just have to prepare for it and know your write-offs and stuff like that. Hire an accountant. But if I'm making 900K, that means I'm actually making money. So, do you guys like that number? Would you like to make $900,000 gross?
Yes, please.
Yes. Okay. Do your database. Okay. So I'm gonna add to this as we go. So categories. So we tend to overcomplicate things as people, but especially as real estate agents. It doesn't have to be complicated. Start with the basics and then build your database. Like, yes, these top agents and even myself have them broken down. Like, I have every open house I hold, I have those clients in there. I have renters, I have buyers, I have sellers, I have A, B, and C. I do have a way more robust database category system, but you don't need to start out that intense, because trust me, the more obstacles you put on needing it to be perfect is going to make you not do it. And some of us are naturally organized people, some of us are not. And yet, if you don't have the sales to hire the assistant to do this, because I'm going to be quite honest, within half of my second year in real estate, I hired my first assistant, because I was like, I don't have time to be inputting these people and putting them on drip campaigns and following up with them on an automatic standpoint. Because here's the worst thing that happens. You call a lead, they don't answer, you put them on a drip campaign to follow up with them, they answer, and then you don't take them off that follow-up trip. So then you've talked to them, you've converted them, and then they're getting emails, we haven't talked yet, where have you been? And it makes you look kind of silly. And so I got to the point that I was too busy to input stuff myself, which is a great problem to have. And I hired a part-time assistant. And then I got so busy that I hired a full-time assistant. And that full-time assistant ended up being who took over my role as the team lead when I transitioned into a coaching role. And she's actually still a top agent today. So know that eventually you shouldn't be the one managing this. You should get, if you're doing 150 plus deals and you're doing 900K in GCI, you have an assistant. You can start with a transaction coordinator and then go to a virtual assistant and then move up to a in-house assistant if you want to do it gradually. But at that point, you need help. Like, you're not going to be able to do it all. So start simple right now, because it does allow for consistency and not to get bogged down in the details. This should be almost enough. Maybe some of you can throw out one or two more I'm missing. But the first one is sphere of influence. So SOI means sphere of influence for those who haven't been in this realm long. You're also going to see it referred to COI in some books or through some other trainers or websites. That is just center of influence. So it means the same thing. So if you see SOI, COI, it means the same thing. That right now, for those who haven't sold a lot of real estate, is going to be the bulk of your database. That is everyone you already know. And we're going to go through an exercise to kind of write out who you think you know. The next one is vendors. In this industry, vendors are important. You've got your title, your lending, your inspectors, your home warranties, your insurance, your general contractors, electricians, plumbers, all that kind of stuff, appraisers, maybe an architect, a lawyer, property management, all of it. So those are vendors. Agents, every agent I do a deal with should go in your database. Every agent you deal with, even if they're horrible, because then I'm going to put like red flags, like literally like emoji red flags. I also have an SHIT list, and I don't work with those agents again. So once you do enough deals, or maybe if you do a couple deals, I know Maria and I have run into that. So why is it important to add them to the database? A couple reasons. Vendors actually can refer you, number one. So for example, one of my lenders that I work with now has referred me, not only, and I know I'm a broker, so that's different, but he has referred me buyers and sellers now 3 times, and also other agents. I've had multiple vendors say, hey, I know of an agent who's not happy. I know, I would love them to be able to talk to you. So not only are vendors there to help with your clients, they can actually send you referrals too if you do enough, if you guys connect, because not every vendor connects with every agent. So if you have a great relationship with lenders, attorneys are great, right? Because they are around divorce and probate and financials, accountants. One of my best clients was a recruiter for a company, because they hired people and brought them into the city. So they're fabulous to work with. And so though finding those people that can help support you on you also supporting them. Also, a database is there to be more than just your phone. Like obviously your phone you can put electrician, but you should be building a database to where if you need electrician, you have an electrician that is available to go in one part of the town, and then you might need one south side of the town, or that electrician may not be available, so then you need another one. Your database should be easy for you just to type in electrician and it pop up all your electricians. It's a It's a touch system, but also a reference system too, to where if your clients call you for a photographer, a florist, a cake, I have my cake lady that I refer everybody to. She's in my database. And she's referred me renters because she's younger. So she's actually referred me business. These people are people and they touch other people and especially business people. So absolutely vendors in your database and put them on some type of campaign. Agents, because obviously if you have a good relationship with agents, that can do wonders for you. And for a few reasons, if you have a client and I'm going to give you an example of this one. So I had an agent that I worked with at Keller Williams prior to this being a broker. She was not one of my coaching clients. She was just a top agent in the office. Her and I built a relationship. I saw her at, of all places, a crepe shop off of 1488. I lost power at my house that day. And so I went down there to work before we had an actual office space. And she came in with a friend and we started just talking and catching up. And we hadn't talked for honestly, probably 4 years at that point. And we just caught up and she lived in the neighborhood that my clients wanted to buy in. And so I was like, hey, I have this client. Do you know of any houses possibly coming on the market? She's like, actually, I have a client who doesn't want to go on the market, but needs to sell the house. And she told me all about it. And I was like, that sounds perfect. Well, we did a deal together and it was all off market and it was fabulous. And we worked so well together. There were a lot of hurdles due to some personal stuff on the seller side. But we got it done and my clients are super happy. And just having those relationships with agents and making sure that they trust you, respect you, like you, can do so much for you when it comes to doing business. And it also reverses, like I put agents in my database that I don't want to work with so that I remember their name. Touches, I don't necessarily do the same touches with agents. So I actually have different drip campaigns for every category. And that's when you start getting detailed around your database because that's what gets you a return. So I send out coming soons to other agents so they know. I send out maybe events that we're holding as a brokerage, like trainings. You can always offer to invite other agents to some of our trainings. I may do a buyer need or a seller need or a rental need, whatever it is. So it's not the same, like I'm going to drip on them every single month. And I don't, as a broker, I should do that, right? If I was trying to recruit, but as an agent, it's more about keeping in touch with agents and also seeing what's coming soon or trying to find houses off market or potential houses. Like this farm and ranch client that I have that has a very specific need. I actually called the agent that specializes in farm and ranch. I've never done business with her, but I know she has a lot of equestrian influence and I don't. So I call her and be like, hey, I have this client. Do you have any potential listings coming up? And if you do, can you please call me? So those relationships are important. The top 20% of agents, we know each other. Like I am in the top 20%. And I know a lot of the agents that are, especially up north. And so I will, if I see a listing they have, or if I see a house that's under contract in a neighborhood where have a buyer or have a listing coming, it's so much easier to call up when they trust me and know me to say, hey, I saw this house went under in like 30 days versus 2. Can you tell me if it's close to value? They are more than likely going to tell me than if it's an agent that doesn't know me at all. So just keeping in touch with people here and there. Lewis had a situation with an agent I know that, and it ended up going south, not to any fault of either of them. And now I'm making him buy us lunch. so, so again, it's just like those relationships matter. So definitely have one for agents, and I highly recommend putting the agents in your database that you work with. Along with, I mean, vendors to the same thing with title. I will say some agents, I only do this on the rental side, and I probably, because of my I don't know, I have a personal feeling around it, but I have had agents say that they take the client on the other side of the deal and put them in their database. I do it with renters because I do know statistically those renters don't use the same agent twice. And so if I'm the one staying in touch with them, which again, if they've done a deal, we have their contact, we are allowed to drip with them. Same with if they walk into your open house, just because they have an agent doesn't mean you can't put them in your database. It just means you can't force them to use you. So you can't sit there and be like, oh, you should fire your agent and work with me. No, that's not okay. But you can send them a handwritten note. You can put them in your database and send them market updates. Like it is clear that if they've come to you in any manner on your listing, to your open house, to your website, to call you, to check on something, you can put them in your database. You just can't force them or tell them they should fire their current agent. Any questions around that? Because that's like a legal thing. So I want to make it very clear. I don't put the seller or the buyer side, like if I'm the seller, unless I just know that buyer has no relationship with their agent, and I would probably put them in, but I do renters. I do put renters in my database that have gone on my listings, but I don't do like the buy sell side, but it is allowed. Past clients, this is the big one. This is the obvious one. You should absolutely have your past clients, and also know that some people may be in 2 categories. A vendor could be a client. Like I have my bug guy, right? Like my pest control. Like he could be a vendor, he could be a past client, and if he was a friend, I mean, I like him, but he's not Sphere, but technically it could be in all 3. So know that you could have more than one category for one person. And so make sure that you put them in as many categories as it fits, because you should be doing different touches with different people. Past clients, and then current clients. So this is just how I organize them. Current clients, buyers and sellers, and I need to add renters, right? Slash landlords, because that's the bulk of my business. A is will be homeless in 30 days. So that's A. Now, some people do hot, warm, cold. I do A, B, C. It's just what I started doing and continue to do. But there are, whatever you want to do. I mean, what another one might be like, what? I don't know. Some people come up with funny ones. I'm just literally straight to the point, ABC. This is your database. Have fun with it. Make it your own. People have gotten more and more creative over the years, so I'm all for it if that's you. B is 30 to 90 days homeless. And C is obviously 90 plus. And so that's as simple as it gets. And you could, some people break it down even more than that, but that's what I do. My A clients, obviously those are my priorities. Those are people who I'm talking to daily. I'm showing property to, I'm getting their house ready to be listed. I'm really every day in communication with these people because we don't have a lot of time. B, the 30 to 90 days, I probably talk to them weekly, sometimes multiple times a week. Because no, this is what the database does for you. And some of you have been in this business longer than others. So please be truthful. Have you ever had someone who said, I need to move in 6 months, but then they move in like 60 days? Sinae saying yes. Anyone else? Yeah, the answer is yes. Everybody, if you do enough business, you're gonna find that I pretty much expect whatever they say to be half. Like if they say that they're gonna move in 6 months, I really realistically think it's gonna be 3 to 4 months. Unless there is a true reason, like a lot of the people say we're not moving until school's out. Okay, well, that's something different, right? If you have kids in school and you don't want to move them, then they're definitely more of a, not always, but more of a sure thing that they're not going to move until around that time. But most, especially renters and buyers, they typically tell you one thing and then half it. So if you're not in front of them consistently, especially that 30 to 90 day window, then how many people know realtors in this world? Like you throw a rock and there's 10 of us. Like it's just, we're everywhere. And so if you don't stay in front of them and they mention it to a friend and that friend convinces them to use their friend or their past realtor, then shame on you and you don't get mad at the client because you didn't stay in touch with them. And so the only time I don't say shame on you is if you are doing all of this and they still go to someone else, then you might dig deeper and find out why. But if you're not staying in front of them, especially the A's and the B's, that's on you if they go somewhere else. And so the 30 to 90 day, be in front of them, email, phone calls, texts, just check-ins like, hey, I know that you said April, I just want to make sure that nothing has changed. Or, oh, I know you said April, but this house came on the market and I thought I would share it with you just in case you liked it. We can come up with a plan. And so this is what you're actively working on at all times are these current clients. And then everything else is more touch systems. Can anyone come up with a few more categories that might be relevant right away for you guys? None? No idea? No one, none that someone uses? Lewis, I know you're my database guy. Do you have any other categories?
I'm checking now, but like I have started, gathering people's hobbies. So if I know if they're a stay-at-home mom, if I know they're a homeschooler, if I know that they're a
Ah,
gardener. So like now I'm trying to keep up with hobbies. So if I find something relevant for an event that is for this category, it's super easy for me to shoot out an email to that whole category. But that's what I've started to do.
that's cool.
Um,
Yep, that's when you start getting deeper, right? So like
right.
you build it out, you're like, okay, I've got my drip campaigns going. Now I can start being more specific. So when I see something, I know it's relevant, I can send it out to this person. That's great. Sinai, yes, yes, yes. Out of state realtors, thank you. So within agents, it's in state and out of state. Because remember, if it's out of your area, you can refer and get money from it. I actually have a deal closing in a couple weeks where it's an out of state referral and I'm done nothing. And I'm just gonna get a check, which is really nice. So for those that have people out of town, out of state, is important. And you never know if they're gonna be moving here, that if they know someone that's gonna be moving here, vice versa. And so they should be in your database and they can be more on like a 12 touch and maybe you send them a Christmas card or a birthday card with a Starbucks $5 Starbucks or whatever. How deep you want to go into those relationships would probably be how influential you think that person is, to be honest. Like Lewis, the agent your brother had, that I mean, he's a real estate coach, he's a broker, he knows a lot of people. You can tell he does a lot of business. He would be a good person to shoot over a birthday gift card to, just to keep in mind that you are a Houston real estate agent, and maybe put them on a market drip, which we do for you. So all you have to do is take it and add it to your database and send it out to them. So the agents out of state, I would probably do like a market update to them once a month just to stay relevant. And I'm in Houston, like that's your goal, is to tell them I'm a greater Houston real estate agent and I pay referrals to anyone who sends me business. Question, any other ideas? I'm gonna add that one.
I have a question. When you
Sure.
send a referral to an agent out of state or even just here in like Dallas, wherever it is,
Yeah.
do you automatically send them the document to sign? Like, hey, here's the information, like sign this, or
Yes.
do you wait for them to get in contact? Yes, you do. Okay.
So, so some of you may not know, there is a referral form, and I am going to write that down. I will upload one into our back agent, just so you have a template. There are some on HAR, but I will just have it ready there. I don't even send, like, obviously I send the referral agreement with the client's information, but I don't ever give them the client's information until they've, like, I don't just call and say, here's their information, call them. I say, I'm gonna send the referral agreement with their information and I would like that signed back. Most of the time the agents are people I already know and trust, because I do happen to know a lot of realtors all over the country. So it's not like I've had anyone not send it back to me. But if it's an agent I don't know yet, I'm definitely way more intense about getting that referral agreement back signed. If you don't get that agreement signed and they do a deal and then you try to get the money, they don't have to pay us. So make sure that referral agreement is signed.
So sorry to ask so many questions. What
No,
is
I
your-
love it.
What is your standard referral? Like it's 25, 30? What is your?
So my standard is 25. I mean, I will say that you're more catchy to other agents if you do a little bit more. Like I knew a guy that would promote that he gave 29.9% referral because most agents do 25. And so I think that it really, to me, it depends on the price point. Like if I throw over $100,000 client, I don't necessarily always ask for even 25, because I know that there's not as much money involved in it. But my standard is typically 25, or if I've already worked the client before and I've gotten them to, like if it's sometimes I refer like within Houston, if it's in Galveston or Katy or something where I just don't want to or have the availability to drive, that I might give like ask for a higher referral because I've put more time and effort into them. So 25 is my baseline, but I shift up and down depending on price point and how much work I've done already. Good question. Okay, so we're going to go into the activity. I am going to actually read stuff out. So you guys are going to please grab pen and paper, or maybe maybe
You
your
don't have to send them far.
huh?
Yeah, you don't have to send them far if you don't want to. You can keep it in inked.
I will make sure, as long as it's not like Dallas or Austin. Let's see, where am I going? There's a cool outline. Okay, so either grab an Excel spreadsheet, a pen and paper, just to add, I just found some more categories to add that I would recommend. Builders are one. Like if you have any builders, either a builder themselves or sales agents for builders. And then within the leads, and I get this detailed for my information, and honestly, it's something you should really do, is there's always a main category and then a subcategory. Put where they came from. Was it a sign? Was it your website? Was it Facebook? Was it a referral? Note where the lead came from, because that's going to also show you where to put your money and your time over year after year. So like if you spend money on, let's just say mailers, which I'm starting to do, if I go a year and I see that I got 2 deals from 12,000 mailers, because I'm going to be sending around 1,000 a month, then I don't want to spend my money on that anymore. So it's tracking also where the leads come from so that you know where to spend your time. But I think builders is a good one as well. And then if you have a specific, like I said, I had an open house category and I literally had every single address as a category because I wanted to track when I was doing more mega open houses, and then also focused on buyer touches, I would send them out to the people who came to my open houses. Okay. Pen and paper, Excel spreadsheet, whatever you need to do. Okay, this is going to be we're gonna work on building your database right now. So some ideas is obviously to go through your phone, go through Facebook, but I want to really just open your mind right now. And so the first thing I want you to do is write down your friends. Like just literally, what time is it? It's 10:41. Okay, so we have 20 minutes to do this activity and we're gonna spend all 20 minutes doing this. So right now you're gonna write the word friends and you're gonna I'm gonna do 1 minute. So I'm actually gonna time it. So I'm gonna have timers and I just want you to write down every friend you can think of and I will tell you when to stop, okay? So go. In state or out of state, just your closest friends. I'm doing this too, by the way, guys, so. And stop. How many did y'all get?
I had 7.
7.
That's so sad.
I got 8, so I'm sad too. Then.
Okay, golly, how
Six.
depressing. Okay.
I mean, hey, all our business plans when we did that little wheel, we all were missing in the fun category, right? So I feel like fun and friends
Totally.
can go hand in hand. Okay. People you work with. So I'm gonna give it a little spin. If you had just came from another work industry, I want you to write down people you worked with in the past. And then also, if you are in this industry, obviously not inked real estate agents, they should be in your database as well. But if you have been in real estate for a couple years, write down agents you remember that you've worked with. So it's either who you just left and worked with and or who you've worked with agent wise. Ready? Go. And stop. Everybody's going to probably have a different number on this one. So we're going to move to the next one. I'm going to jump down, or I'm going to do this one because I believe most of us do attend church. So it has church or Sunday school, or like I do a mom's group in my church. And so these people should be in your database, to be honest, especially the ones that you connect with. So we'll spend a minute going through either any type of church or spiritual group that you might be a part of. Okay. Now we're gonna kind of lump, if you have kids, they're teachers or coaches or trainers, anything like that. Your doctors, your lawyers, your anything that you do any type of interaction with on a pretty daily, weekly, monthly basis. So we'll spend a minute thinking about that. Teachers, coaches, doctors, accountants, neighbors. I'm gonna throw that in too, neighbors. Okay, now we're gonna do who work in these types of businesses. I was like, who is coming in my office? So I'm gonna read a category and you're gonna write down if you know someone in that category. So obviously write their name. And then you're gonna go back and put these people in the database, but we're not gonna spend a minute on each category. I'm literally gonna read out categories and you're just gonna write down if you know someone. So the first one is accounting. You have an accountant. If you don't, I have a good accountant, by the way. If you need someone. Next one is advertising. Could definitely be helpful. If they are already good at advertising, they'd probably be good at helping promote you. Airline industry. I will tell you, my brother went to a school full of pilots. That is like the best contact to have. He gets to go to Germany and all over Europe, and he's been to Florida and Mexico. He just hops on flights with his buddy who's a pilot. I wish he was my buddy too. Everybody, if you've sold a house, should have someone in the alarm system business because ADT calls you every time you do a deal. So do you have someone who does alarm systems? If you have a pet, do you have a veterinarian? Sinai, this should be you. Antiquing. Do you have someone who does antiques? Bless you, Lewis. Apartments. So obviously we can do apartments, but do you have someone who's like an apartment, I don't want to say sales agent. What are they called when they're actually in the
Apartment
office?
locator,
Not a locator, because that still could be considered
property
us.
manager.
Leasing agent. Thank you. The apartment leasing agent. Thank you, Serena. An architect. I love this. Artificial nails. Your nail tech. That's sometimes a woman's best friend.
So basically be a phone book.
It's people that know, like these are people who actually you know though. So it's not phone book. It's people that you might interact with on a regular basis. So like I have a client wanting to, or I had a client who built a house and they needed an architect. So if I have an architect, it's really easy to refer an architect to them if I had one. Auctioneer. So my best friend, or it's not my best, she is one of my best friends, but she's actually my little sister from my sorority. Her dad is a real estate auctioneer and he's a good person to know. Because auctioneering in a crashing market is very popular. So we've actually done auctions on listings before. They were very, very popular in Florida. If we have any type of crash here again, I can guarantee auctioneering is going to come back. And so those are actually people you can know. Automobile. So there are sales guys who specialize in helping you get cars, like a car dealer, essentially, not just tied to a dealership themselves, but are independent. Those are good. Anybody who's in sales is good to know and to be in front of because they talk to people on a regular basis. So it's all about building those relationships with these people, because the more people you partner and stay in front of are people who could advocate for you. It's called business to business, right? Like if you pass them business, you hope to get business back. Babysitters. I mean, we just need this for the fact that we have kids. I need a database of babysitters. But my babysitter, my husband did some tile work for. Like you just never know when they need real estate. Like some babysitters are old enough to rent properties, then go on to buy properties. Don't discount people. A banker, a barber, blinds, especially like plantation shutters for clients. Bookkeeping. I have a bookkeeper for the brokerage. Builders. There should be a lot on this one, being that we're in real estate. But get to know sales agents. Like I get emails, all the sales agents call brokers specifically to invite us to like different events to get our agents to come. So I get emails all the time from sales reps of builders. Dentist, dermatologist. My dermatologist was a client of mine. Designers. Clients ask me for designer referrals. So again, I'm talking to you from the perspective of me giving them business, but I've also received business from people as well. So don't discount, like just because they don't work in real estate or you think that they won't refer you, that's not the point. Doctors, drywall, any teachers, which we already did for kids, an electrician, specifically an eye doctor, firefighters, good people to know. A florist, a graphic artist, a hairstylist. I will tell you, in Florida, my hairstylist was my biggest advocate, other than my recruiter. My hairstylist bought and sold with me. That whole salon bought and sold with me. I used to get extensions in the weekly there. So I was in that hair salon and it was right next to my office. So that helped. I still talk to her today. She's in Orlando, but I helped her and her ex-husband buy a house. Then when they're getting a divorce, I had to sell the house and help her find a house and him find a house. That was just off my hairstylist. Then I helped a bunch of the girls in there. So definitely don't discount your hairstylist. And if your hairstylist is attached to another realtor at a high level, go find a new hairstylist. That's my recommendation, because they are people, there are women's therapists. So they will help refer you if you have someone who trusts you. Let's see, health insurance. So there's agents, like individual private agents, especially with us, like self-employed, that need the private health insurance people. Insurance in general, home insurance, car insurance agents. A lender. Everybody should have a lender unless you're brand new. Serena's the only one who gets a pass. Everybody else better write someone down. Let's see. Nurses, those women talk, so I would definitely become friends with nurses. My sister-in-law is a nurse. They love food. A nutritionist. Wedding planners. I'm jumping through here. Seeing which one. Pest control. Pools, so like pool inspectors, cleaners. They have sewing on here, which I actually like. What's the word? A tailor, someone to tailor clothes. That I have my lady who did my wedding dress, and I refer her. Also, my cake lady referral source. So we're so into like self-employment now and all the entrepreneurship, and so building each other up and referring. And so my cake lady, I refer all the time. She refers me. Recruiter, especially for like companies, those are good people to have. Attorney, all different kinds of attorneys. They all specialize. So business attorney, real estate attorney, tax attorney, probate attorney, divorce attorney. You should have attorneys for all of them, because none of the attorneys do the same thing. Like, they practice a specific law. So have an attorney for each of them. Title companies. Also, everybody should have one of those. Home warranty. Property management, which should be us. Side note. A woodworker. This says unions. I read it as unicorns. I don't know why, but I started laughing. I realized it did not say unicorns. I think I said wedding planner. Did I say wedding planner?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good person to know, obviously. Anyone who does, and this says volunteer organizations, but I want to hone in on anybody who does like really get involved with volunteering. So that there's, those people, the ones that are like ahead of every single volunteer opportunity. That's who you need to know, because they know a lot of people, and they talk. Okay, there's so much more. So there's a lot of them. I kind of skip through, because some of them I'm like, really, like it says, like a roofer would be important. But one of this says like pizza, like, I don't know, like the pizza man, like, thanks for my pizza, here's my card. This is Making Agents Wealthy. I highly recommend this book. It's like $12, or no, it was $16 on Amazon. It's a great read, 180 pages. But it gives the list to get your mind into coming up with these people. Okay, so we are done. There's a lot more, right? You could take the phone book and not necessarily use the people in the phone book, but use it to jog your mind around what categories you need. But pretty much every vendor that makes sense for a house is who you should have someone to be able to refer to a client. So if that helps jog your memory, highly use yellowpages.com, an actual phone book if you happen to have one. I do not. Oh, that's cool. Lucky y'all. $12.99 instead. Okay, I am going to log off. We will have buyers presentation tomorrow, listing presentation Friday. Those will be Zoom next week. I'm gonna get with Lewis because I want him to teach a database class so that we go into the drip campaign conversation. So this was to get you prepared to use the database and get it to 500. But how do you actually do the systems and the drips? So that we will host another class on. Thank you guys. Talk to you later.